All right, this video is a continuation of stock picks for the month of September, stocks that are showing a lot of relative strength or have a catalyst. Today, we're specifically going to break down the best or most undervalued big tech stock that's got the most room to run. I want to remind you guys that the last stock pick for the month of September, one that I think will do well in September, was Alibaba. And I want to just highlight that nothing has changed. These are stock picks that I believe every time they give you a red candle, it's going to lead to a higher price sometime in the month of September. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, but there's reasons I've laid that out for Alibaba, and today I'm going to lay it out for another big tech, my top big tech pick for the month of September. I think there's a lot of reasons that this is going to continue higher in this month, which is traditionally not a great month for stocks, but already this has been breaking out. And so I think it's going to continue to find new highs in the month of September. I also want to remind you of something I said in my last video yesterday, which is that you don't want to front run the bearish potential reversal of these markets. People are asking me about SQ, QQ, and other inverse picks right now because they're trying to guess when this bull run is going to come to an end, and they're trying to get ahead of it. But that is a huge mistake. I believe it's like trying to get ahead of a freight train, trying to get ahead of a market that is trending bullish. You don't want to try to guess when the last green candle is going to hit, because the next green candle could be a gap up. And we're seeing that in a couple of the picks that I've talked about here recently. And the one I'm going to outline today's had a massive candle. So if you thought that you could short the top on this big tech player, you would be sorely mistaken. So as long as the SPY stays above 637, and I've showed that line many times, the trend is 100% bullish, and we won't even think of heavy bearish plays until that 637 on the SPY breaks down. In addition to that, I've given the technical for Bitcoin that as long as it stays above 107, the bulls are in charge. Now, I'll admit that Bitcoin is looking a little weaker, but again, you don't want to try to front run the pullback on Bitcoin, especially when it's currently in the hands of the bulls. They're controlling the price action. It's still above important moving averages that we're going to be watching and respecting. As long as price respects those averages, investors should as well. This is the Stocks with Josh show, and the pick that I'm going to be breaking down is Google. They just had a huge catalyst event. With the conclusion of this lawsuit, Google was handed a potential gold mine, and you do not want to underestimate it. I'm going to break down that news story, and we're going to dive into the technicals and some important alerts. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you 4 important technical alerts that you need to be paying attention to, that if you didn't hear about these 4 technical events for Google, you could be missing out on an incredible continuation of the Google uptrend. Of course, there's always a need to protect your capital. I'm going to give you some up targets for Google, which I've worked out technically and I will explain, but I've also taken the time to consider, what if I'm wrong? What if the market reverses? What if something bad happens for Google? I'm going to give you a stop loss recommendation, 2 of them. I'm going to give you a tight and a little bit wider stop loss recommendation. You can consider which one might make sense for you. Thank you for hitting the like and subscribe. On another note, in the Stocks with Josh pro trading community, we had a beautiful play on Amazon. I gave a GOAT alert for Amazon calls that had a beautiful run today. Not every pick is going to be a winner, but if you do not take some risk and run with the market as it continues higher, you're just going to get left behind. We are taking risk every single day, sending out GOAT alerts, as well as 5 days a week, I give my A+ trade setups, which continue to print money. And on Saturdays, we do a recap and I teach people how to trade those. And so if you don't have a trade plan, you can come and work the trade plan that I'm laying out in my community. And it's not just me, it's me and my Crown Traders. You can learn to chart and you can trade along someone 5 days a week. Come check it out. It's the name of the show. You just search www.stockswithjosh.com and join up. Before I get into the headline news on Google, I have to give you a breaking news event. Just 2 hours ago, somebody bought almost $4.2 million worth of $250 strike price calls on Google. Very optimistic, okay? So folks believe that Google is just beginning to break out and they're going in heavy right now. Now, of course, we're going to use our disciplines. In addition to that, when we go to look at Cheddar options flow, right, we see that today, Amazon and Google were the top two positions that were experiencing inflows today. People are buying the rip on these two as they continue to climb. And even though September is normally not a bullish month, there's a lot of risk taking for Amazon and Google, and that's why we're highlighting Google today, and perhaps we'll highlight Amazon this week. The next alert that you need to be aware of on Google is that they are experiencing a 1.8 X in volume. So volume is surging, even though it's at all-time highs. The last Google alert that you need to have on your radar is that this is considered by many analysts to be undervalued. When you begin to look at all of the components that make up the Google company, you realize that they're not priced to perfection. They're actually undervalued. The price had been getting held back in 2025 when a lot of other big tech players had been breaking out and making new all-time highs. Google came late to the party, and they're now beginning to catch up, and there's a lot more room for them to move. It's currently priced at about $2.5 trillion market cap, but all of the business's valuations lead to a $3.5 trillion market cap, which simply means that it's undervalued to many, and there's room potentially for this to climb. And my final important point or alert that you need to be aware of regarding Google is that they're crushing it in AI. These guys, of course, YouTube is part of their business, Gemini, and then Nana Banana. This has been a breakthrough photo editing innovation that a lot of people are buzzing about right now, which causes me to question how much of that has actually been priced in for the years ahead. So let's talk a little bit about the news story, the Apple court ruling and its impact on Google. So the big story is that Apple has been forced to open up in-app payment systems. And why this benefits Google is as if regulators are cracking down on Apple's walled garden, the Google Play Store dominance might suddenly become a huge moat, no longer a liability. So the basic strategic plan is that Google could see increased developer inflows, better legal standing, and more monetization flexibility. And so this is the ruling that we had been waiting on to see Google really move. And wow, did it move? And wow, did institutional money flow in? So now it's time to go take a look at the charts and see what's been going on and see if price is truth, and if it's telling us that there's a higher price target that Google could possibly reach. If you love Google, drop a heart in the chat and let me know if you like this coverage. Let's go look at that chart. All right, I'm going to break things down very slowly for you, but the very first thing I want to point out from a technical standpoint that typically signals a very strong uptrend is going to emerge is this golden cross that we got here back in between June and July, and that's when this orange 50-day moving average initially crossed beneath the 200-day moving average, and when it crossed back above, it was an extremely bullish buy signal, and that's what's led us to this brand new all-time high. And the last time this happened, when we got a golden cross at around $100, that is what led us all the way up to this peak here at around $200. And so there was a 100% move that occurred after this golden cross. Some people might say, I think I missed it. No, because let's go look at the percentage move that we've already gotten. After this golden cross, we got a 36% move. And so if we did something similar to what we had done the last time we got a golden cross, it means there's plenty of room for this to climb all the way up to the $300 and $330 range. Not predicting that. I'm just talking about the impact of this golden cross that occurred back in July. We're still operating under its bullish flare. Now, the other big factor that I want to highlight to you is that right here is Google's all-time high price of around $206. And you can see that we've broken out. And so whenever you get an all-time high breakout, it confirms that the stock is in a long-term bullish trend. If we had failed to break above this previous all-time high, then it could be that we were going to be in a long-term downtrend and that the stock, was somehow suffering a problem of maybe the fear of the loss of market share, for example, or their lack of ability to compete in the AI space. But this vote of confidence, this recent breakout above the previous all-time high and this brand new all-time high, it means no, Google's going to hold on to its dominant position. Now, let's talk about these lines I've got drawn on the chart. I'm going to shift back to the weekly view. And I want to point out that this is a area of resistance with a couple touches that was established back here. And you might say, well, that's not relevant anymore. No, it absolutely is. This is a long-standing historic line of resistance that we are well beneath, which means that the price could run all the way up to this spot. And this has got quite a bit of room here for this to continue higher. It's even though you might be thinking that you are tardy to the party, this has actually got a lot of room to run based on this historic line of resistance that was created back here in 2021 that we have yet to hit. Now, when you identify something like that, you're looking for a little bit of confluence. Is there any confluence that we might find for this being a target area? And the answer is yes. Not only does this line up with historic potential target of resistance, but this actually lines up with the golden pocket for the Fibonacci. And so our target for this current up move to hit the 1.618 fib extension is between 242 and 245. And so there is definitely a lot of room for us to climb up into this zone. Let's take a step back and talk about some specifics. Let's talk about the stop loss, and let's put on some numbers here, okay? I'm going to slide back to the daily time frame, and we're going to look at some important areas on the chart, and I'm going to explain why they're important. So to confirm that we are going to potentially push up to between 245 and 258. So that's my exact target, this zone right here, okay? The idea is that we might push up to 245 to 258. We got to get above this 233 to trigger that, right? And so that looks like we are very close to making that new fib level crossover confirmation, but we do need to close a daily or a couple daily candles above 233, and that will give us the confirmation that we could get up to 245 to 258. Now, I want to highlight the stop loss. Why 221? Well, if we break back beneath 221, we have fallen back beneath this area of resistance, and we have canceled out this bullish pop-up move right here. This is the move that we got on the basis of the court ruling that was bullish in favor of Google. And if we were to lose that level, it would basically cancel out that upward move. Now, I'm also going to give you one other stop loss, and that's going to be your 9 EMA, and that's going to be closer to 215. The 9 EMA is an area that price often comes back to, and it should bounce. But if for some reason we didn't bounce and we broke it and closed beneath it, 215 would be a wider stop loss option for you. Now, let's take a step back and review volume, like I said a moment ago, because that's always very important. What type of volume are we getting at resistance? Well, this was a historic resistance right here, and we got historic volume pushing us above, which is super important. Matter of fact, I want to highlight something to you. The last time we got a green volume node this large was back here on this candle. And after we got that institutional buy-in on that candle, let's take a quick peek at how the stock performed. It got a 33% move higher. Well, we just got another volume node exactly like that one. And if we were to cross-reference where this could possibly go, well, we could actually be pointing to, if we had a similar move, we could be pointing all the way to just under $300. And so I wanted you to have a big picture view of what's going on with Google and some of those red hot alerts like the inflow of money, that high volume pump, almost 2x regular volume at resistance. All of this signals a continuation because institutional money is not going to buy the top. So this is perhaps not the top. Now, hold on a minute. We had a big move, and it wouldn't be unusual to have a little consolidation, maybe a little narrow descending channel, maybe a little pennant shape where price consolidates. Every single one of those red candles, if this bullish narrative holds up in the macro environment, right, which I've been saying, SPY, NVIDIA, Bitcoin is all in a bullish trend still. Google has, I think, potentially the most room to move higher. I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think of this? Do you think that Google's this bullish, or are you thinking of shorting it? I wouldn't do that personally. I believe that the volume is our confirmation. Price is the truth. And volume has told us that institutions do not think that this is the top. Matter of fact, they're going long right here on what they believe to be as a significantly undervalued big tech play. Perhaps the only undervalued or significantly undervalued big tech play. We know that Amazon is also looking attractive. Which do you prefer, Google or Amazon? Right now, on any pullback, my money's going to be on Google for a continuation. And yes, I believe $300 is an extremely realistic multi-year target. I think that this run up to 245 to 260 is the next big leg up that we're hoping to see, but we will protect our money and put in a stop loss. You got to choose your own. I've made a couple suggestions for you on a couple stop losses that might make sense. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you guys. Google is your next pick for the month of September. I believe that we will see a higher price on Google than we have today. No differently than I believe that we'll see a higher price on Baba than we have today. Let me know what you think the next hot stock that I should cover and chart should be. I'd love to hear from you. Right now, I'm feeling a little love for Amazon. I think it needs to be covered very soon. Tomorrow, I'm live trading with the family. Wednesday, I had 5 trades. 4 were extremely strong winners. And today, we had some great GOAT alerts in the Stocks with Josh Discord. Tomorrow, I'll come back. I'll let you know how we do. I'm planning on making some money, though. Peace and blessings, my friends. Take care. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.